Just featured by Opera in the Heights was the classic opera by Rossini, L'Italiana in Algeri, which translated means The Italian Girl in Algiers. It premiered in 1813. However, it fit right into 2025. This is Dr. David D. Shine, and welcome to a special edition of Starstruck as we keep our audience up on the arts, entertainment, and theater scene. Houston is a small opera company, Opera in the Heights, also known as O. This makes opera more accessible to a broad audience and gives some up-and-coming talent a chance to perform professionally. Just featured by Opera in the Heights was the classic opera by Rossini, L'Italiana in Algeri, which translated means The Italian Girl in Algiers. It premiered in 1813. However, it fit right into 2025. Opera plots are often complex and many heroes die. There are only a handful of famous operatic comedies outside, of course, of the famed batch of light operas by Gilbert and Sullivan. So I did not expect to see a pie in the face and a man's wig being pulled off in a classic opera. Yes, it was great fun, and I wish more people could see this production. Many experts opine that it's actually more difficult to do comedy than drama. Combine that with most opera performers being picked for their voices and not their appearance or acting skills, and there are some obvious challenges to producing a comic opera. Well, Opera in the Heights pulled it off beautifully. Here you have two couples in a twisted plot. What else is new for a classic opera? On stage for much of the show were the two female leads, mezzo-soprano Kelly Guerrera as Isabella and soprano Laura Karina Sanders as Elvira. In an interesting twist, normally the number one female in this case, the character Isabella, would have been the higher range soprano. In any event, they combine great voices with comic stage scratch and dominate this opera. My regular listeners know that I often point out a show stealer. In this case, it was the male lead, portly baritone Andy Pappas. The part was made for him, and he played the wishful playboy Mustafa to the hilt. He reportedly has made a career playing comedic parts like this one. Also featured in the opera were the great voices of tenor Andrew Morstein as Lindoro, baritone Sajan Park as Tadeo, bass baritone Isaiah Music Ayala as Haley, and mezzo-soprano Megan Heath as Zuma. This production was accompanied by the Small Heights Opera Orchestra under the direction of Iki Isomura. Despite the small space and limited size, Isomura brings out the best of this operatic composition. I also want to credit stage director Ben Robinson, who helped the cast creatively bring the production to life in the small theater space. By the way, the set was one of the best that I have seen at this venue. Opera in the Heights is facing some challenges financially. I encourage those who have an interest to patronize their productions and, if possible, make a contribution or volunteer to help. Disclaimer: I buy my own tickets to performances covered, do not identify myself to the theater as a reviewer, and do not promise to do a review. Dr. Dave awards Opera in the Heights 5 stars for its production, L'Italie in Algiers. This is Dr. David D. Shine for Starstruck. Thanks for joining us, and if you've enjoyed this, please subscribe on your favorite platform.